Criticism continues to rain down on NFL defenders after devastating hits continue to result in concussions, and analysts are calling for stiffer consequences for players who make helmet-to-helmet contact. Last night's Steelers-Bengals game was a good example. They reported 3 concussions. My guest is former Redskin defensive back Brian Davis. Brian played in the NFL for 8 years. He was a member of the Redskins World Championship team in Super Bowl 22, and he currently trains professional athletes from, the NFL, the NBA, Major League Baseball, MMA, the U.S. Olympic Wrestling Team, and amateur athletes of all ages at the training room located in Scottsdale. Brian, welcome.
Well, thank you very much for having me, Scott.
Hey, so I just first want to get your take on all this. I'm guessing as a defensive player, you're probably thinking, well, that's just football, or maybe I'm wrong here.
No, you're right. Listen, as a defensive player, during my years being an active player, I didn't want any rules to help anything out. I didn't want rules that put skirts on players. And any rule they made, I always felt that it was one more opportunity to give the offense an advantage. Now, as a retired player, you need to protect these players from themselves because they only need to look at some of the health issues that the retired players currently are having, and the NFL is not going to be there for them when their playing days are done. And the players are just bigger and faster and stronger, and the collisions are violent, and people are not headhunting. They've just been taught a way to play their game since the time they were kids, and the helmet-to-helmet stuff, something's got to be done about it. And the players would never want a change, but you got to protect them from themselves so they don't end up like the batch of retired players now with health issues and nowhere to turn.
I'm trying to remember back to 1987 when you were drafted by the Redskins as a defensive back. Do you think, talk about your time then, and do you think it's much different now? Has the culture just changed? Are there more helmet-to-helmet hits just because guys are playing more aggressively?
Well, I think first of all, back in the 80s, they weren't even considered concussions. They were called getting your bell rung, and you just take a sniff on a smelling salt, and you get back in there, and everything is fine. Of course, that's a joke. I don't know what the difference is. I do know that they need to do something sooner rather than later because guys really are taking some serious punishment, and you just don't know what the after effect is going to be when it blows to the head like that.
It sounds to me like you're saying, well, let's not legislate this. Let's just go and educate the players on what the repercussions are down the line later in life. Is that right?
Listen, there's definitely an awareness issue, but these guys are young, and they're going to play the way they've been taught to play, and their feelings always will be that nothing can happen to them. Reality sets in much later in life, and I don't really know what the answer would be, except that man, your health is a really important thing, and a lot of guys have given it over to playing football, and it's cost them the rest of their lives, and they just don't realize it at the time because they're just too young.
Mm-hmm. Compare the size and speed of guys now compared to when you were playing in 1987, although you were the fastest man alive, as I recall.
Listen, I don't know how it can keep going this direction, but these guys are bigger and faster and stronger than ever, better equipment, better training. They train year-round as opposed to how it would have been before. And, when they're going out there, even when you put rules in, even now they know that you're not supposed to have head-to-head contact. But things are just happening so fast out there, and there's so much adrenaline at the moment of these big games that, even if you were aiming for the head, I don't know that, you're aiming at moving targets. Mm-hmm. So a lot of these head-to-head contacts that look so violent as if a defender did it on purpose, I don't know they could do that if they tried.
Going back finally to your years in the NFL, did anybody ever tell you to go and hurt somebody or to try and get them out of the game? And did you ever find yourself holding back at any time?
You know what? No one would. I guess I did play in the 80s, and Buddy Ryan was in Philadelphia. And I do remember there being a time where Buddy Ryan would put bounties on people. I suppose it's all rumored, but you know, when you go out there and you're playing a team, and Buddy Ryan was the defensive coordinator, and you're playing in Philadelphia, you know what you're getting yourself into, and you know it's going to be rough play, and people are always looking to get you. But whether it's a bounty or not, or people are intentionally doing it, I think from the second that you step on the field that you're aware of how serious it is what you're doing, and that you are it's your job to go out there and be 100% focused and to not let something like that happen.
Thanks, Brian.
You're welcome.
My guest is former Redskin defensive back Brian Davis. He trains professional and amateur athletes alike at the training room in Scottsdale, Arizona. I'm Scott Drake. Thanks for watching.